Can you see the screen, by the way?
Hold on, let me... Yeah, I can see.
Can you see my pen?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, I had one lesson the other day where I was drawing for like 10 minutes and like they didn't
Oh,
mention that they
just
couldn't
suck.
see it. So I was just like drawing but they couldn't see anything, so it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Was this person playing Moth the whole set or?
Yeah.
Okay. And it was just like a ranked.
Yeah, it was just a random rank thing, and it's odd because this account is like pretty. It's pretty down bad. Like I've put it pretty low just to, as I mentioned before in the last session. Like I feel like I lose to players I shouldn't, so I wanted to test it out. And for some reason, like this guy's not good, obviously, but he was substantially better than pretty much anyone I've ever played in ranked.
Yeah. Okay.
Like on this account, so it was just a really good close match, and probably the closest match I've had.
Okay. Nice.
Oh my god, I was so upset about that.
I'll just watch the whole game through actually first, just because I haven't seen you play before. So.
Alright. Three-frame jump squat it's hard to wave dash with.
It is indeed. had him.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, I did you have any thoughts after like rewatching it?
So I noticed that nair he was doing. Well, first of all, I kept putting myself in the corner, right?
Yeah.
And I was just very scared of him. And he kept doing this nair, and I remember now. It's like a brain blast watching this back. I remember I just didn't have an answer for it. He would do. I don't think it was auto canceled because he would fast fall like as soon as he could.
Yeah.
And then he'd hit me with a strong hit like right at the end, and I could never like dash around it. It was so annoying. I just didn't have an answer. That's why I'm kind of like I felt like I couldn't adapt. Like there was other stuff too, but like mostly that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was the main thing that changed, honestly. Like if we just watched through this in real time again, I felt like the start of the game, you're doing a really good job with these like overshooting like to catch his dash back, right?
Yeah.
And then you did that drill at the start to catch his aerial as well. But I'd say like the main opening this guy was getting was like just short aerialing, right?
Yeah.
Like fairs and like nairs and stuff. Whereas all these other things he's doing, you are like dealing with really well. But yeah, so like all these like first few stocks go like these first. I think it was like first 2 stocks. One big thing that went wrong quite a lot was actually the respawn.
Yeah, I think I kept going into the corner.
Yeah, you kept either in the corner or like jumping a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd end up jumping and then double jumping and then having to like land with not many options, right? So like with this one, like jump, double jump, land with an aerial, right? Which is pretty easy for him to just like avoid and then grab, right? And he doesn't kill you off of it, but you know, that's an opening that you could avoid, right? Or at least make harder for him. So I think when you're landing, you want to do more like wave landing, for example, out of this. So like you have a bit of a mix-up between whether you go this way with the wave land or this way.
Okay.
And like Marth can't... Marth's grab range is big, but it isn't this big, you know?
Yeah.
So it's he can't really cover both very easily at all. And the other thing you can throw in there sometimes is like mixing up like how fast you come down. You know, do you just do no fast fall or do you do like fast fall? You know, do you drift this way? Do you drift this way? You know, that sort of thing, right? So just changing up how you land. There was a few times in this game where you did something really good, which was you just landed without a move and then just dashed away. Which worked really well. So I think a bit more of that. But I think it's because you're like, you know, he's just respawned, he's invincible, and I think you're just sort of panicking a bit.
Yeah. This is my first time, like, first time playing against someone who, like a Marth that grabs me past the train grab, like I'm scared will kill me once he grabs me.
Sure.
So I think, like, playing this back in my head, I remember, like, always landing with an aerial, because like, through my head, I'm like, well, if I don't land with one, he'll just get a free grab.
Yeah,
like,
and it's actually...
the idea of a wave land.
Yeah, it's actually the opposite way around. If you do the aerial, then he's probably likely to grab you. Because then he has something easy that you can just, you know, grab the lag of, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's a lot of this sort of thing where he's just sort of like walling with aerials and you would get hit. So like for example. And this is just like Moth's sort of like standard adaptation. So like you're trying to like run past him and hit him moving back here, right? Like he's going this way.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have a hitbox out until you get to like here, right? So all this space here, you're vulnerable in. So that's why Marth wants to start like throwing out a move in this space to try and cut you off, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking, because it's not like the idea of him doing a rising fair wasn't in my mind. It was just like, well, I don't know what to do about rising fair, but I do know what to do about dash back. Yeah. And if he grabs me, it's going to be way worse for me than if he does the rising fair. And like that's what I'm like. I didn't know really how to adapt. I didn't know what my options were.
Yeah. So I think anytime you're confronted with something like that, where it's like, I don't know what to do about this, you have a couple of options. So, like, first of all, you can just try and avoid the situation entirely.
Yeah.
The problem with it here is that, like, your main openings were coming off of reading this dashback, right? So you're sort of forced to interact with this if you want to try opening them up in that way. The other thing I'd recommend is anytime you come down from the angel platform, like you're up here, right? You have, like, I think it's 5 seconds on the angel platform or something like that. And during that time, you can have a think about, like, you know, what you want to try and do instead.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think the sort of process there would be, you know, you think about the thing he's doing, right, which is this short hop aerial. And just think about, well, what, you know, if sort of like with the dashback thing, if I knew he was always going to short hop aerial, what would I do about it, right? Like, ignore the whole, like, you know, he's mixing up all these different things with it. If it was like he's going to do this exact same net every single time, like, what are the things I could do, right? Is there any off the top of your head you can think of?
Probably, well, when Marth does rising aerials, his only real option is doing another late aerial. So either, I think if I was ballsy, I could try to go in between those, in between the two fares that he would most likely do, or I could just hard read that he's going to do the late fare to protect his landing, and then be a bit closer, be a bit more prepared for it.
Yeah, I think they're two good ones. There's one thing he did earlier on in the game as well, which was to jump over, right? And then you can get over his hitbox here. You could also sometimes you can just run up and then like up smash, and that can catch the startup of his jump, right? You could do Mango really likes this option, which is run up shield, right? And then you shield his attack, and then you can attack out of shield.
That would probably be the least committal one, I guess.
Yeah. Obviously, it opens you up to grab, but you know, if Moth's just throwing out grabs and not hitting you, then you know that's giving you a bit of an advantage, right?
Yeah.
And then the final thing is you don't even have to like punish this fair itself. Like, you can use that time to sort of get into a better position, maybe like around here, right? And then once you're here, you're a lot closer to be able to punish the next thing, right? So that's a few considerations there. But with all of those, you're just thinking about, well, what's the weakness of the thing he's doing, right? Like, with this fair he's throwing out, I'd say the weakness is that, like, he's putting himself in lag, right?
Yeah.
And he's only covering sort of, like, in front of him. Or if this was a nair, then it's sort of, like, this sort of zone, right?
Yeah.
And you can see how, you know, full hop goes over those hitboxes. You know, run up shield, you'll shield those hitboxes. Waiting, you're outside the range of it, you know?
I think probably if I had been playing more Fox, I probably would have full hop, but it's just like my mind is I'm playing a lot, right? My mind is just like Falco, and I feel like I didn't really consider full hop as an option just because Falco doesn't get away with it nearly as much as Fox does, right?
Yeah, Falco would deal with this in a very different way, I think.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like you know, whether I'm playing a spacey or floaty, or like sometimes I'll play Marth or Falcon sometimes, and it's just like I'll have these same situations where I'll feel like I just don't have an answer, right? Like I think you're right about the angel platform thing. I should probably wait, because I guess my mind is like, oh well, I need to pressure them, right? I don't want to give them time to think, but I guess that's a pretty flawed way of thinking if I'm being stuffed every time I approach and I'm the one losing.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think like the pressuring them and not giving them time to think, unless it's like, you know, I mean, maybe if it was like a smaller stage, like say Yoshi's, and you can get there before he can give himself time. I think it's valuable then. But like, usually they get time to go to the other side of the stage and then go on the ledge, and you can't really do anything anyway. So, yeah, I'd say that another thing is, like, other characters' answers are a lot more universal compared to Falco's, which are a lot more specific, I feel like.
Yeah,
like, all of these things that I've said here, like, not all of them, but, like, other characters could, you know, run up shield or jump over the hitbox or, you know, dash dance away, you know, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then sort of, like, in the moment, I would just think about what's the hard call-out I could do. Because then, at the very least, you have this sort of, like, 50-50 you can play, right? And then once you've figured that out, you know, when you come back to this at a later point, you'd think about, well, which of these also deals with dashback well? Or which of them sort of, like, punishes one thing but then doesn't lose to the other, you know?
Yeah.
Like, how do I want to structure this mix-up, basically?
Yeah, that's just the, like, when I'm playing, I'm most of the time I'm really only thinking, like, what's one option I could do to deal with this? Because, like I said, this is the first, like, really close game I had where I've had to think, and like, I usually Marths especially, unless they're like forward smashing like fucking half brains.
Yeah,
I can usually just dash dance them into like the corner and fuck them up, right? But this guy was the first person who really felt like he was backing me down, and I had no answer for it. And I realized during the game, like, man, I'm really not thinking of any options. So I guess I should just have pre-planned on, because I guess late fair and then rising fair is probably pretty common. I should already have an answer for that, or multiple different answers.
Yeah, of course. I mean, in an ideal world, right, you have pre-prepared answers to everything, right?
Yeah, but it
like,
doesn't really go that way.
Yeah, like, the fact that this wasn't even on your radar, like, I don't blame you for not having an answer, you know?
Yeah.
So, but the important thing is, you know, once you realize that this is a problem, that's when you know, sit down and think about it a bit. And, you know, when you're in, like, a ranked set like this and you don't have much time, I think the Angel platform and between games are, like, the best times to have a think about what you want to do. And, like I said, you want to make it as simple as possible, because you don't want something super complicated that you can't implement quickly, you know?
Yeah.
Like you need an answer now. You don't need an answer that, you know, you can do in, like, 3 days' time, right?
Yeah. I get that.
Cool. Yeah, so let's look a bit further then.
That was supposed to be in there. So there, that was very obviously a dumb option, but I, like, through him just being such a wall, the option I'm talking about is the up B, right?
This one?
Yeah, that, like, very obviously he's ready for that, right? But I just wanted to hit him. I wanted to be in advantage.
Yeah,
right? Like, I felt like I really couldn't do anything. So, like, obviously it's a dumb option, but my mind was just like, okay, I need to go. I need to pressure him back. Like, this isn't working out for me.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty common thing I've seen in a lot of people, where it's like, when they're getting beat in one area, they sort of, like, get desperate in other areas to try and, like, make up for that, right? And like I said, I think if you can do it, like, the best approach to that is to just avoid it entirely, honestly.
Yeah. And
try and, like, mitigate that rather than try and, like, make up for it, in a sense. Obviously that's easier said than done. But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'd say it was the up B angle that was bad here, not, you know, like, this angle would have been really good.
Yeah, that's what I was, like, as soon as I did that, like, into him, and he forward smashed me, I was like, I literally could have just snapped the ledge there.
Yeah. But yeah, like, the big thing there is that recognition that, you know, I'm getting desperate. I need to sort of, like, chill out a bit and work my way in, you know, find some other routes rather than just sort of rolling the dice and sort of, like, throwing myself at him, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so like here, I thought this is a really good example of that landing thing, right? Like, I think if you'd have landed with like a nair here, for example, or a drill, he would have grabbed you.
Yeah, yeah.
But what you need to do, like, I thought this was a good first step, where you're like, you know, aware that you don't want to throw out an attack. But if you really want to get mileage out of this, you need to move back and then move back in to punish him, right? Like, you need to expect that he's thinking you're gonna just land down here with an aerial.
Yeah.
Like, because this was, like, quite a big opportunity, I feel like, that was missed, right?
Yeah.
You know, he's whiffing a grab at 60, you know, this could have been, like, a nair or a grab or running shine, you know, like, quite a lot of things, right? But instead we back up and laser because we're like, ah, shit, I was in a bad spot, right?
Yeah. Like, my mind was just in disengage mode. I should have tried to punish the whiff.
And it's kind of counterintuitive because you sometimes feel like, oh, you know, if I back up, I'm safer and it's a better spot, right? But actually being next to him while he just whiffed is actually the better spot, right? Because then you can actually, like, get a favorable mix-up. Whereas when you're this far away, you know, neither character's really doing much, right?
Yeah.
So you've gone from, like, you know, a decent situation to, like, a pretty neutral situation. So that's, like, a negative for you, you know?
Yeah. That counterproductive. I'm thinking about that now. Like, I definitely should have stayed close to him, considering my thought process, especially during the later half of my first stock. I was like, this guy's a wall. Like, I can't get past him. So I don't know why I would try to reset to neutral and then try again.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the whole way to beat the wall is to get to a point where you can actually hit him. Like, the next option, right? And you had that, and then you just sort of you know, gave up on it, right? So if you did want to move back and be safe, like, I think that's fine, but only move back to, like, you know, here maybe.
Yeah.
Right? Don't move all the way, you know, other side of the
Yeah.
Cool. I also felt like that I didn't really feel like you ever sort of, like, waited for him to do something first, if that makes sense. Like when you were both dash dancing like this, I felt like you were always the first one to either do a jump or try and, like, overshoot over here or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, if you watch this and you'd have waited, like, a beat longer, you know, he'd have thrown this out, right? So you got to always present that. Like, you got to make them think that you're willing to just run in and hit him, but you're also just willing to sit there and wait for him, you know? And all of the timings in between. Nice. Like, I thought if you executed this a bit better, I think this was, like, nearly the perfect spacing, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't
every time I dash attack here, it's supposed to be a short hop nair. It's just
yeah.
Oh, that's tragic.
Yeah.
I remember there. Okay. So, like, I was thinking there, I was like, I literally, in that moment, it was like time stopped, and I was like, I don't know what to do. So I just, like, I was like, whatever. I'm like, fuck it. And then I just jump over and do the back air, and it worked, but, like, I still was like, that's not going to happen again, obviously.
Yeah,
like, I wasn't thinking here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, like, a main one, honestly, like, sort of connected to the short aerial thing, is just a lot of these, like, landing situations with Marth. Like, he's in the air and coming down. Like, I'd say that was a pretty rough challenge. It worked out, but...
Yeah.
And, like, here you get clipped. This one goes well, and I think this one you get clipped nearly as well. So I think there's something off in terms of, like, your timing and spacing around his aerial drift.
Yeah.
You can also use crouch cancelling in those spots as well.
Yeah. Like, now I'm kind of thinking about it, because I guess I don't really think about. Yeah. You know what? It's because I'm playing so much Falco. I don't even think about crouch canceling.
Cancel. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. So let's talk about this nair he's doing then. So he does this nair. He jumps forward. Probably hits around here. I'd say the hitbox is like this.
Yeah.
So let's have a quick talk about like what you think what are the strengths and weaknesses of this option. As Marth.
I guess Nair, it's got a... Nair can't really be, not crouch canceled, but it sends far. If it hits, like, you're good even at 35%, a pretty low percent.
Yeah, safe on
and,
hit.
Yeah, and, I guess a weakness would be actually, I don't...
I mean, that's what we had to figure out, right?
I guess maybe if it's like instant nair and he doesn't fast fall, I could dash under it. But I think that's what I was trying to do, and then he'd fast fall, and then I'd get clipped by the end hit of the nair.
Yeah.
But then if he fast falls, I could full hop over it, right? But
yeah. So let's have a look at the hitbox first of all, right? So there's this blue zone that's really threatening, but then there's these sort of blind spots like up here.
Yeah.
Down here, right? So you have pretty good options to get there. You can either jump over or dash under, like you said. So I'd say that's one. Another thing is like, how good do you think Nair is on shield?
Not very good, I'm assuming.
Yeah, right. Like even if he gets like perfect execution on it, it's not like a spacey where he can like shine you, right?
Yeah. I remember during this game. Sorry to interrupt you. I remember during this game, like he hadn't really done anything to condition me to be scared of going in shield, but it's just like, especially at a fucking juicy percent. I'm sorry, I keep swearing. Hi, what's up? Okay, thank you. Like if I get grabbed, I feel like I'm gonna get comboed to either 90% or death. So it's like shielding. I'm so scared of being stuck in shield, or like he could do late fair, and then maybe I try to shield grab because I'm scared, and then he dashes back, grabs me. It's like I'm only really thinking about the weaknesses of my options, I guess. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, and I think it's very easy to get caught up in this vortex when you're trying to find answers to a move of like, oh, but if I do this, they'll do this.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's no resolution for that. Like, there's always going to be something they can do about your option.
Yeah.
So just take it one at a time. Like, of this one option he is doing, what are the counterplay options I have? And don't concern yourself at the moment with like the next steps after that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just get like an answer to this first and then go from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have jump over, run under, shield. Another one that people seem to hate for some reason, but I think is really good, is just rolling. Right?
Rolling? Yeah.
Roll past him, and then he's going to end up over here. And you're in center, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's really good. You can also do stuff like spot dodge it as well, and then hit the end lag of the move.
Spot dodge nair? I guess the final hit.
Yeah, spot dodge the second hit, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, is there any other big things? You can nair between the hits sometimes as well. That can be useful, because it is sort of like, the hitbox is out for a little bit on the first one, and then there's a gap, and then there's the second hit.
Yeah.
And especially if he's... So, like, this is just a general melee thing, but, like, if somebody's moving forward with a hitbox, it's a lot easier to beat them out, rather than if they're retreating with it. Because their hurtbox is moving with the hitbox they're putting out, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when they're moving back, they're sort of defending themselves with the hitbox, especially with...
Yeah, the aerial. Or retreating, but... I think most of it, maybe I didn't realize in the moment, but like, it's also that he could have just dashed and then, what's it called? He could have dashed, short hopped, and then just done a retreating fair from there. And then if I went to challenge it or whatever, I could get clipped or something. I think maybe that, because he had been a wall the entire game, right? With
Yeah, for sure.
fair and nair, up air, whatever. So it's just like, I think I was respecting it too much. Like he made me so scared of getting hit by an aerial, especially at that low percent where he could kind of convert it into a grab.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think one thing to think about it as well is, like, I don't want you to only think in terms of, like, this beats this and this loses to this. In terms of, like, like a lot of the time in Melee isn't a super clean, like, rock, paper, scissors until you're, like, right next to each other, right? Like, when you're this far, for example, like, you could move, like, back here, and he doesn't have anything to hit you until he reaches, like, this point, right?
Yeah.
And if he does throw something out, then you're at a little bit of an advantage because you know, he's just whiffed, right? So a lot of the time there's stuff like that where, say he did that, like, retreating aerial, right? So you'd end up back here, and let's say you just waited back here. If you saw that, then, you know, you can just move forward, right? And it's not you getting a punish, it's just you creating a new situation, right?
Yeah.
But then, also, if you did move forward and do this nair, right? You would still have time to, like, put up your shield or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe jump out of the way. So you can see how, like, you're sort of covering multiple things with one option, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's also a very, like, not very committal option, right? It's not like you're running up and up smashing him or something.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, so let's watch that back now. So can you see how sort of, like, you could have put your shield up here, for example, or rolled through?
Yeah.
Because I think what you tried to do was jump into him, like short hop into him, and try and beat him out. But, you know, going back to that example of the hitbox, right? Like, that's coming out here, so if you try and move into this zone, it's not going to go well, right? Like, directly into it.
Yeah.
So does that make you feel a bit more comfortable about what to do about that now? Or?
Yeah. I should probably. Yeah, I'm just when I'm pressured, I guess I don't really think about that stuff. Or like if I'm like right here, I'm usually thinking like, okay, well I'm in the corner. I want to go to the corner. I just got to hit him, right?
Yeah.
But now, thanks to the little how like the dash back and then multiple options I could do and react or whatever. I think I'll probably be able to deal with it better next time.
Yeah, and especially the key difference here with this now compared to the others is that you don't have room to dash away here. That's the real thing that makes this really good. You know, if he was doing this in the middle of the stage, you could very easily just, like, dash down, grab this, for example.
Yeah.
But because he's overshooting all the way into the corner, it, like, makes it kind of hard. And I mean, even this one, you still had, like, this little bit of sliver of space, right?
Yeah.
So, just something to think about. This is another one where the respawn goes kind of bad, right?
Yeah, I keep jumping.
Yeah. So with the double jump as well, you want to make sure that you're doing the double jump at a good time. So like here, you double jumped before he even had time to respond to you, like, full hopping, right?
Yeah.
He was still in lag the whole time. Like, you want to do the double jump once he can try and commit to covering your full hop.
Yeah.
Right? And then from there, you know, you can go this way, this way, you know, like all those things, right? And you want to try and create a mix-up between, like, are you going to land from the full hop? Or are you going to double jump and then play another mix-up, right?
Yeah.
Whereas it feels like you just skipped to that second step straight away. And you also double jumped right above him, which meant that, like, it was quite easy for him to just put out there, right?
It loses. It stops being a mix-up when I just instantly do it and commit.
Yeah. Like, the whole point of it is that, like, you're trying to, like, trick them or make them guess what you're gonna do. But there it's just you can just see it and, you know, do something about it, right?
Yeah.
That was another one of those really good baits you did, right?
Yeah.
So I really like that stuff. This is another one where I probably consider putting up my shield. After this, I think you actually missed the Alchemist, which made it a bit rough.
Yeah, on the I think I missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this is the one where you could shield this and then like grab it, for example. Again, it's like a rising. You just like this rising fair, right? So this is one where instead of just running in and trying to force your way out, I want you to wait a little bit and wait for that opportunity to like create a better situation, right?
Well, the thing is, what because unless like my reaction speed is just slow, like if I'm sitting there waiting or dashing back, I don't have much space, right? So what doesn't that lose to him just dashing in and just running up and grabbing?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, 100%. But if he's willing to run all this way and grab you, A, he's losing to this thing you're already doing, right?
Yeah.
So there's not much reason for him to do it. And B, like, it's just one of those things where it's like he's taking a massive risk. Like, doing that grab loses to a lot of things. It loses to that nail you did. It loses to you jumping over him. It can also lose to you just, like, changing the spacing slightly. Like, if you move back here and he's trying to grab where this orange bit is, then he's going to whiff, right?
Yeah.
So this grab is, like, a very big call-out, and it will only cover, like, very few things, right? Whereas this, like, fair he does, it's one of those things where it's like, it gets him a little bit if you try and jump into him, but if you don't, then he still has, like, center. But on your end, he's just whiffed this full hop and he's in lag. So then you can use that time to, position where you want to, right? Maybe take a better stage. Maybe get ready to full hop over him and, hit him when he lands. If this was a platform stage, you could jump up and go to a platform. It just gives you time, and you're also seeing exactly what he's done, so you get a lot of information, right?
Yeah. Like, and there again.
Yeah, like I actually want you to try and remember how many times has he actually run into the corner and grabbed you?
Yeah. Right? I'm way too scared of the grab, I guess.
Yeah, and it's tricky because it does feel terrifying, but a lot of the time Moth's grabs actually come from like a different hit first into a grab. So like a fair into a grab, a nair into a grab, a tech chase.
Yeah.
And every time he has tried to like dash dance grab you, I feel like you've punished him more than he's punished you,
Yeah, I think there I tried to crouch cancel it, but
you're just acting a bit too at the wrong times.
Yeah. Because I knew run up crouch cancel fair is like an option that is pretty widely used against excuse me, Marth.
Yeah.
But I knew it was a good option, but I didn't know what to do next.
Yeah. So like that's the key, is you sort of need to practice doing different inputs out of crouch cancel, because sometimes you can just attack like here straight away, but sometimes you'll need to move forward a bit with like a dash, for example, or sometimes you'll need to cover up here, right? Like CC and then like full hop and bear or something. But I thought the idea was good. Yeah, so like this snare, for example, this one's a lot different because you have the space, right?
Yeah.
Like you could very easily dash dance here and then try and whiff punish, or like pressure the next thing, right? Like I'd say this up smash you do to try and call it out, I'd be more likely to do that if I was here, because I don't have that easier, like safer option of just trying to whiff punish it, right? I sort of have to take some sort of risk.
Yeah. Yeah, here I think it's just more of a mentality. I remember getting pretty greedy for this kill.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's understandable. Yeah, another thing with this Nair as well, if you watch carefully, watch when Marth does a Nair moving forward. Look at where his sword goes. So it hits in front of him on this first one, but then on the second one it actually hits quite downwards, right?
Ah, I actually didn't notice that.
Yeah, so this is why especially when he's moving forwards it gets a lot worse, because it's very easy for you to just jump over here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So as long as you don't get clipped by that first hit that hits sort of like up here,
yeah,
there's a much bigger window than when he's moving back. Like, you're trying to sort of aim for his head almost.
Mm-hmm.
And similarly, it's easier to run under the first hit than it is the second hit.
Yeah, like there.
Like there. Like, that was perfect, right? Like, the shield here. Shield, get a grab because it's unsafe.
Yeah.
And this was probably a kill, honestly. I think you just messed up.
Yeah,
You had the read as well.
Because I remember being in this exact situation, because I played a few games with Marth for fun.
Yeah.
And it was like a pretty close game or whatever. And this guy, he's at like almost 200. I'm struggling to kill him. He takes my stock. He just sits in the corner. I'm like, okay, you're stupid. I'm gonna forward throw down tilt you. He back throws me, shine spikes me, use my jump, and he shine spikes me again. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do that. And then I just club.
The key part that just went wrong, I think you want to do like a dash dance here, because you didn't have room to dash and jump here.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Let's watch that other game then. But I think there was quite a few good things there.
Yeah. Because I don't remember him doing like that Nair in this game. Maybe he was, but I really, there wasn't a point where I was like, okay, I don't know what to do here.
Yeah. I mean, so far he's done a lot of the same sorts of like short hopping to wall you out. You know, it could be taking a bit of time to recognize that, right? And then, you know, once you get to the third game, that's when you're like, okay, yeah, I see it now.
Yeah. That was a crazy grab. That's insane, actually.
Yeah.
I remember this. Damn. I'm messing with him. I'm getting in his head.
Yeah, I think this is more of the same stuff, honestly, that we've already been over. I'm not seeing too much different. Okay.
I don't know how I like looking at this. I'd assume I lost because it's like literally the same as the other one.
Yeah. So, do you have a favorite Fox you like to watch?
A favorite Fox?
Yeah.
I really like Pups Fox.
Pups Fox?
Yeah.
I was trying to think if there's any VODs of his Fox vs Marth.
Yeah. Yeah, Pup and I think Professor Pro. I guess not as much now, but.
Yeah, no. Okay, there's definitely a lot of VODs of Prof vs Marth. Let's look for that actually. And I'm also pretty familiar with like how he plays. So.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot.
Yeah, he's like from my region.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. There's one from him at Gommel versus Percules Fox Marth. So let's watch that.
I remember when I was later in the Marth. So look at play in Marth. I believe.
Can you still see, by the way?
Yeah. I can see.
Yeah, I mean, So first of all, like this moth's done 2 of those nairs, right? He's done them a bit differently. You know, he's moving back a bit with them, right? He's drifting back.
Let me see over just a bit.
Yeah, but straight away you can see first of all, like Prof's playing a lot closer, right? Like he's quite close with this one, and then this one he's spaced a lot closer, right?
Yeah, there after the first nair, I definitely would have dashed the corner there or tried to jump over.
Yeah, yeah, and then you can see like
here.
with the nair also, he doesn't try to just like grab this nair. He tries to read what Moth's gonna do after, right? So he dashes all this way, and then uses this sort of like overshoot shine to catch Moth trying to like dash back, right? And like the Moth dashes forward here, which is good on him. But that's the sort of thing you need to think about as well, is like, how can I punish the thing after the aerial he does? Because a lot of the time you can't punish the aerial itself. Let's see what happens here. That was another one where he runs under it, right? And this is another example of one of those, like, it's not really a clear-cut rock, paper, scissors, because, like, Prof was trying to probably read, like, a down tilt or something, like a grounded option. Liquid was probably trying to read a jump, and you can see how it ends up in this, like, weird, like, neither player really wins here. So sometimes you can pick an option that, like, didn't really read them, but it won't, you know, end up in you dying, right? Yep, so that was another one. So you can see that this time, you know, he baits out that nair. And then he waits a bit longer, right?
Yeah. I definitely would have went straight in.
Yeah, yeah, and I think the key is here, like I said, there wasn't really a time in those 2 games where, like, you were dash dancing and you waited for him to jump first, right?
Yeah, he's the one waiting for committal options instead of Marth.
Yeah, it was either like you would go in first or like you'd move at the same time. And I feel like when that happens, especially when you're this far away, Moth usually wins, right? Because he has more range.
Yeah, and he has the destroy.
Yeah, whereas if you're up close, like say you're here and he's here, that's when you going at the same time can lead in you winning, right? Because you're faster. Yeah, so with this one, this time he just reads that he's going to throw out another move, waits a bit. Good grab by the Moth. But yeah, I just sort of focus on these like aerial interactions, I think.
Yeah.
Yep, waiting again, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so I see when he came down from the respawn platform, Prof is actually like, instead of just trying to jump away and wait for the invincibility to run out, he kind of jukes him a bit here, like with the drift on the full hop.
Right. I mean, obviously your one was a bit harder because you were on FD, but you can see how like he starts up here, and if you look from Mod's perspective, he's like, oh, this guy's to the right of me, let me hit to the right. Oh, this guy's to the left of me, let me hit to the left. And then, you know, suddenly, like, you know, it gets very confusing trying to find where Fox is on the stage, right? You know, even this double jump, like, he could have ended on the top platform here, or he could have ended on the ground, right?
Yeah.
That was the up smash call out, right? So that can be something you can do. But again, look at the spacing, right? Like, he's a lot closer when he starts this. And how does he get to that point in the first place? It's through, you know, waiting out Moth's, like, jumps and stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, he's using that first whiff to position himself, and then he's using the next situation to try and hit Moth, right? Or maybe even the third one sometimes. That was one where, like, jumping in didn't work too well, right? So again, it's not a, you know, this always beats this thing, right? That was an example of running under.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can see here, like, he isn't even trying to hit Moth out of the corner. He's just trying to get out, right? And then play from there. Cool.
Yeah, he's waiting for like there he waited for the fair, then he did running shine,
Yeah.
For the dash back.
Yeah. This is going pretty well.
Yeah, this guy's getting fucked.
Yeah, so like again, like here, there was lots of shield, right, as well.
Yeah.
Gets a bit lucky with that jump, but you know, lots of shield, lots of dashing outside of the range, right? And then once he's gotten Marth to whiff, that's when he like tries to make a read. And try to hit him. Yep, and then also the spacing on Marth coming down, right? Like, watch this.
Yeah.
So he puts himself in a spot where it's like Marth could just about drift in and maybe hit him, right, with a back air, but then he's just spacing in, you know, around there, right? He's sort of like teasing Marth to come in, you know. Whereas I feel like that sort of like fine balance is something you were like sort of struggling to find a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's keep watching. Another one you can see Aaron did there as well was I think he does a jab. Let me watch again. Oh no, he grabbed. Never mind. So I was going to say sometimes jabs can catch jump startups as well, and that can be valuable sometimes, especially at the higher percents where you can do like jab up smash. Okay.
Yeah, like when he was getting doing the upper string there, I have no idea like where I'm supposed to DI or what I'm supposed to do. Either Falco or Fox. Like I feel like I'm just stuck there.
Yeah, we can watch it quickly. Yeah, I mean, on this stage, I would say you want to just try and DI upwards as much as possible to get height, right?
Okay.
Because there's no platform here that he can, like, move to extend the combo.
Yeah.
Right? Same with FD as well. And also, when he does his finisher as well, which is going to be, like, all the way, like, up here, you're in the center of the stage, right? So you've got further to go.
Yeah.
Compared to, like, if you got hit, say, over here, you know...
Okay.
So that's what I do on these sorts of stages. And then, you know, when it's a stage with a top platform, it's kind of rough. Ideally, you want to try and force a tech so that they have to like hit a tech chase, right?
Yeah.
You know, maybe give you an opportunity to slide off or edge cancel or something.
Yeah. Usually when I'm going against, not just Marth, but like just strings in general, I try to just SDI the opposite direction. I don't really think about the finisher.
Yeah, and it's also like just with Marth and with the characters in general, like there's usually a mix-up for him between up air, which, like I said, you want to sort of be DIing up, right, so that he can't get as many more, and forward air, which you want to DI this way, right?
Yeah.
So there's an inherent like sort of 50-50 there almost. Between, you know, do you think you'll up air and then you want to go higher, or do you think you'll fair and then you want to sort of DI left so that you can get attack on the ground, for example?
Yeah.
Cool. So I think what's happened this game so far is that this guy hasn't been jumping anywhere near as much, and it's taken Aaron a little bit to like sort of figure that out. You know, he's lost the stock to it, but then you'll see this.
Aaron's Prof?
Prof, yeah. Sorry, I'm just so used to calling him by his name because same region. But yeah, like this down tilt, for example, was something he wasn't doing before, right? Because why would he if that guy was jumping a lot? You know, you think about down tilt, it's sort of like this, right? And Marth's going to be up here. so it's not going to hit. But then when he's playing more grounded, that's when he wants to throw in these down tilts, right?
Yeah.
And so what's Moth probably going to do now once he realizes Fox started down tilting?
He's going to start jumping.
Yep, exactly. So that was just a bit of an idea about, the adaptation side of it, right? Like, Prof doesn't adapt the first moment he sees, like, a dash dance on the ground. He waits a bit to sort of...
Yeah.
Is this a one-off, or is it starting to become, like, more of a trend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what this guy was probably thinking between the games was like, oh, I need to stop jumping, right?
Yeah.
Or I need to, like, down tilt more or some shit. Probably that second one, because Prof was dash dancing a lot, and usually Moths are like, oh, I need to down tilt.
Mm-hmm.
Down tilt and grab.
Yeah, he isn't really going forward with Nair at all.
Yeah, he stopped, right? Just because he had it sort of, like, beaten out of him, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, he was willing to, move forward and grab, right?
Yeah.
You can see how with this one, Fox could have rolled. He could have spot dodged.
Yeah.
He could have moved back. He could have jumped. There was a lot of ways to get around this, right? You could have even thrown out a move out of shield if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Now that I like, look at this, like, he's walking, right? So he has a lot more options. Like, he could have up tilted her, down tilted her, whatever. He could jump as well. But when the other guy, when I was playing my match, he was always dashing. I was like, what if he grabs? But his only real options
himself, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'd say personally, I think Prof's getting a bit, hasty here, right? Like these last few times he's been whiffing a lot more.
I would have gone for that grab.
Yeah, and I think that's because he's a bit weaker at dealing with this sort of like style of Marth, at least in the moment right now.
Mm-hmm. I know there aren't a lot of very strong Marths in the EU, or at least that's what I...
Yeah, there's some like on the come up, but there's not, we don't have like a Zane or a, a Coda or something. See what happens. Yeah, and I'd say this guy's aerialing a little bit more right now. Not like as much as he was first game, but he's sort of like throwing it back in.
Yeah.
Nice. Yep, you can see the respawn as well, right? Like, just look at it as if you were playing Marth here, right? And it's just so hard to track, like, where Fox is, right?
Yeah.
He's on the platform, he's in the air, he's on the ground, like, he's everywhere.
Yeah. He's taking time after that full hop from the side platform to see, like, how he reacts. So he's dashing back there, so obviously he's not going to keep dashing back and put himself in the corner. Okay.
Yeah, I felt like when you did this full hop, you got to about here, and then you went up here, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, when Aaron does it, or Prof, he goes all the way over here, and then he does the double jump back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that difference is enough to make the sequence that this other guy goes for not work, right? Because if you watch him, he's sort of like, oh, he's full hop, let me dash dance. Oh, he's double jump. But then by that time, it's too late to jump up and hit him, right? He needed to read the double jump now.
Yeah.
He can't react to the double jump and then go up to try and aerial you. It's too slow. And then that was a good example of like the shield, right? After you get a hit.
Yeah.
And then he punishes that shield.
Yeah, fair out of hit stun is something it's pretty hard for me to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now he jumps when he approaches because of the down tilt Prof hit him with.
Yeah, exactly right. This time he dashed down, grabbed it. Don't actually know the score on this set. I know Prof won, but spoilers.
Yeah.
Fair. Ooh. Oh, he's cracked.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I thought that was a really good example, right? Like, there's definitely a bit of back and forth there. You can see sort of like, I think Prof plays it quite fundamental in terms of like he not hard calls out stuff, but it's very obvious what he's looking for, right?
Yeah. Like I could tell like he was very the Marth. I don't know who he is. Is like he's very clearly scared of whether he's gonna punish a dash in or a jump in. Like he made it very clear that one of these options you're gonna get punished for.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I mean, I think there's loads of sets of like, especially versus. I think it would actually be really useful to watch him versus like the UK players we have over here. It's kind of hard to find the VODs, I think. Type in, because there'll be a lot of sets where like he's the significantly better player, right? So it'll be very easy to see, like, you know, if I watch like this, for example. It should be like very easy to see like where he's getting his openings, right?
Yeah. I think I get what you mean. Like seeing someone be the better player, you can see how they're, like how they're the better player, what they're doing to be the better player.
Yeah, I feel like the answers are really obvious when it's the better. Like, I actually think it's better to watch like, instead of like a top player versus top player, like watch like a top player versus like a pools guy, or like you know, something like that, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there's any other examples in this one, but yeah, I'd definitely have a look around at that stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. So, do you feel like that gives you some stuff to work with, some answers?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
I wanted to come out of this not having a kind of a one-track mind, especially when I'm being pressured.
Yeah.
And you know, now I know I should be thinking of, you know, instead of thinking steps ahead, or what if I could do this option, or what if this option doesn't work and then I get punished. I can just kind of just be like, I'll try this option. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. I'll do another option.
Yeah.
Right.
Simple.
And I can, and I can try to think more of how I'm going to adapt in a future situation, especially with Marth Nair.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, yeah. Happy New Year's.
Yeah, happy New Year. Oh shit! It's New Year's.
It is New Year's Eve.
Fuck. Oh my god.
Well, did you have something to do?
I thought it was I thought it was a 30. Yeah, I have a thing to go with my friend. It's like a little like event for his daughter, but.
You've still got time over there at least.
Yeah. Okay. Well, happy New Year's, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for the Professor Pro part. Like that really helps. Like seeing
awesome. Yeah.
him like breaking down how he's like fucking up this Marth and like conditioning him and whatever. Yeah. It really helped. Thank you, man.
Awesome. All right. I will see you in a bit.
Yeah. See you.